Hello, and welcome to Sundays Outside, a celebration of Black folks. My name is Chevon Powell, and I will be your MC for the day. One second. That's my bad. I would like to recognize that myself and a number of the folks coming to you today are coming from the lands of the Coast Salish, specifically the Duwamish, who we honor with our gratitude for the land and the people. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Again, welcome to Sundays Outside, a celebration of Black folks, which is a monthly virtual series highlighting Washington State parks and all the amazing things that Black folks do in the outdoors and around the state. And yes, it is Sunday, as in ice cream. So we hope that you bring your delicious treats with you and enjoy this afternoon of content. Have you tried honey ice cream? It's currently one of my favorites. I'm excited to be here this year with you all, hosting the kickoff to this series again. I want to send a big shout out and some love over to Arthur, who was supposed to be our host today, but we will see him later on in the series for sure. All right, well, today is all about men. And so without any further ado, I would like to, actually, before I do that, I would like to say a quick thank you to our various sponsors and partners, including Washington State Parks, Folk and Traditional Arts Program, Washington State Parks Foundation, the Wilderness Society, Washington Trails Association, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Friends of the Seattle Waterfront. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss any of these amazing Sunday outside events. With all of that's going on in the world, we want to make sure that we are curating a space that brings you joy and happiness in the midst of all of the things that are going on right now. But today we are celebrating men, and I want to jump right on into that. So we're going to send it to our first video. Did you like that intro song? Well, that was from DJ Rosethrow, and I'm going to send you to a video to hear more about that. All right, take it away.
We are at Riverside State Park. My name is Rosethrow, and this is Sundays Outside. So the topic of outside, I feel like about a year ago was a very strange topic. Like, when are we going to go outside again? What is that going to be like? When are we going to be around people? Are we just going to do it anyway, or do we stay inside? I was inside for months just playing Animal Crossing, which was great, but I was like, I just want to be outside with people. And so I sampled a song by Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak called Leave the Door Open. And there's a section where he says, I'm gonna leave, and then I'm gonna leave the door open. And that spoke to me in a different way than when I first created it. It's just like about letting, the door open and actually stepping foot outside. Acknowledging to myself, like, I'm gonna leave this door open, and I'm gonna go out, and I'm gonna leave the door open and let the outside in. Like, that was a really important piece. So that is a very, it's almost like a mantra throughout the song. And then I just threw a bunch of beats over it. My name is Darian Mack. I've been in Spokane for about 29 years. So since birth, I'm 29 years old. So I've been here for quite a bit. I range my artistic expression in a few different ways. So whether that is DJing, which I'll be doing for you folks today, or beat production, which you'll hear at some other point, or videography. It ranges. I just love expressing myself artistically in anything that I could get my hands on. That impulse to create was where a lot of my interest lied. I would do well in certain classes, but I felt like I excelled in the arts. Music, I feel like, is a big part of just my family. I don't know if there was a time where I would be in the house and there wasn't music playing. It is just a very common thing. And my mother, she used to rap as well. She didn't do that a lot later on in life, but that was just a very common thing. And so it was just always around. And I think I built like a taste for like very specific types of music. And I don't know, I felt like whenever I was in the car with someone or at an event, I was like, give me the aux, let me play what I want to play, because I could curate it, and you guys, I know you're gonna like it. I just know you are. And so I guess stepping into this kind of just came naturally for me, and I love it. My 9 to 5 is not necessarily music related, it's mainly video. So I work at a film studio called Community Minded Television, downtown Spokane. And what we do is we supply a place for people to engage with videography without needing to spend a bunch of money. And so we allow people to come by, use our gear, use our space, and just learn. The songs that I chose today, they're pretty mellow. I think almost everyone that I've selected has curly hair, which is a defining characteristic in a lot of the music I play. Try to play music from people that look like me, but it fluctuates as well. All of my music stuff has been developed independently. Beat creation was just, it's like the space of, okay, do I want to hire someone to do this, or do I just want to do it myself? Do I try and hire someone or find the music that doesn't necessarily fit what I want, but it suffices, or do I just make it? Instead of trying to make something that you want the world to like, you're just making something from yourself. It's like, here, if you don't like it, that's fine. There's other stuff that you can listen to. But if you like it, then that's what I really care about.
Awesome. That was so dope. Shout out to DJ Rosethrow. Much appreciation for creating our opening closing beat for Sundays outside this year, and doing that DJ set. Every Sundays outside, we will be closing with a short little DJ set from DJ Rosethrow. So more of him to come, and much appreciation. I was over here dancing in my seat. Again, today we're celebrating men, but this series will celebrate LGBTQIA+, women, activism, and climate change. So stay tuned for all of those episodes. Today, we are also highlighting Riverside State Park. So the images you saw at the beginning of the broadcast were from Riverside State Park, which is in Spokane, Washington. If you are in the region, go check it out. It was one of the most beautiful state parks that I've been to. So with that being said, we're actually going to take a quick virtual tour from our friends over at Washington State Parks Foundation. So take it away, Allison.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Liu, and I am joining here today from the Washington State Parks Foundation. I am so excited to share with you one of the coolest features on our website, our virtual tours. Whether you are looking back fondly on a past trip or planning your next outdoor excursion, our virtual tours are a great way to experience Washington's beautiful state parks from the comfort of your own home. As you can see, here we are on the homepage of our website, which you can find at waparks.org. There are a number of ways to access our virtual tours from here, which I will show you now. The easiest way is to go up to the top bar and hover over Explore, and then click on Park Virtual Tours. This will take you to a full list of all of the virtual tours we have to offer. What you can see here is we've got virtual tours for parks, retreat centers, and venues, interpretive centers and museums, and even vacation houses. The other way to access our virtual tours is by going to the individual park page that you're looking for. And here we've got, for example, the Riverside State Park tour. What you see here is a little blurb of the park, as well as links to reserve a campsite, download a park map, download a brochure, or access the virtual tour. So we'll click on that. And what it's going to do is it's going to load the virtual tour page. And I'll show you around the tour itself. But as a little introduction, all of our virtual tours are created by our wonderful photographer here at the foundation, Jonathan Nelson. And as you can see, the picture quality is simply fantastic. The tour starts us off at the Morin Trail. And you can see here on the right, there are all the different access points or scenes for the virtual tour. I'll be taking you through a few of them today to give you a taste of what exploring the virtual tour looks like. But to begin, I want to walk you through the technical aspects of the tour. On the left, you can see a few icons. The house icon will take you back to the homepage of virtual tours that list that I showed you earlier. The next icon controls the scene list here on the right. So if you click on it, the scene list goes away so you can better view the tour. And if you click on it again, the scene list comes back for you to navigate around the park. The map icon here takes you to a map of the park, which you can see here. And we can X out of it right there. And finally, the information icon is going to take you to the individual park page that we saw earlier. On the right side of the screen, what you can see here is the scene list, and the scene list allows you to jump around to different parts of the park. It starts us off, like I said, at the Morin Trailhead, but you can click on any of the different scenes to go where you want to go. Now, when you first arrive at a scene, the page will immediately start panning slowly all around. You can allow it to do this automatically, like I am now, or you can pause it by clicking on the bottom here. And then you can also drag the screen manually. Now, one of the cool things is that you can also drag it up and down as well. So you can look up at the sky and down at the ground. And we've got a full 360-degree view of everything as if you're standing there in real life. You can also move around to different parts of the area by clicking these forward and back buttons here at the bottom. So this will move us throughout this particular scene, but if you click on it enough times, it will eventually take you to the next scene. Now, there are certain scenes that allow you to further explore by clicking on the yellow and blue hiking man icon that you see right here. This will move you down the path in whatever direction he's pointing, allowing you to virtually walk around. Finally, a cool feature of some of our virtual tours is the ability to virtually visit interpretive centers. So here at Riverside State Park, we have Spokane House Interpretive Center, which I'm going to click on right now. And we can enter by clicking on this little blue door opening icon. And it takes us right inside. And from here, we're able to take a look around, drag all around to see what's on the walls, and even walk around inside of the interpretive center by clicking on the little yellow and blue icon. Some of our tours even feature this magnifying glass, which allows you to click and get a closer view. For example, here we can see the model of the Spokane House circa 1823. This was built and donated by the Friends of Spokane House in 2005. And if you look over here on the right, we just have so many beautiful scenes. So for example, you can go to the swing bridge, and this will take us all the way over here. And if you're feeling brave, you can click on the little blue and yellow hiking man, and it'll take you right across the bridge. So what we're able to do here is really get an idea of what kind of terrain you've got at a state park, what the different amenities are, if there's an interpretive center, and all of that. And whether you are reliving fond memories of a park or trying to scope out the terrain of a park you're planning to visit, I hope you are able to take advantage of this awesome resource and enjoy Washington State Parks this summer. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Allison. That's amazing. If you are able to get out to our state parks, make sure you do so responsibly. We also know that you'll need a Discover Pass. We understand that Discover Pass can be a barrier for folks to get outside. So after every Sundays Outside, we will be giving away one Discover Pass. All you have to do is complete our online survey, let us know how the event went, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a Discover Pass. All right. How many people got out yesterday? Yesterday was Juneteenth. Drop in the chat if you did anything to commemorate this holiday. Are you just learning about Juneteenth? Well, if so, this newly recognized federal holiday is from a celebration or a commemoration of emancipation of slaves in Texas 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. I knew I was gonna mess up on that word. I always do. If you're just learning about this today, please do your research. In order for us to see the change we want to see in the world, we have to recognize past traumas and heal from them. Personally, this is one of my, instead of 4th of July, I actually celebrate Juneteenth and have for years. As a proud Texan, this really hits home for me. And it is something that my family and I have celebrated or commemorated for many, many years. So I am happy that more people know about the holiday, and I hope that it is respected in the way that it should be. All right. Well, with that being said, I hope you all had a great Juneteenth and look forward to sharing more moments about Juneteenth in years to come. All right, next on our program, I am really, really excited to share this next conversation. Last week, I was able to meet with the leaders from Bikeworks, Peace Peloton, and North Star Cycling to have a discussion around Black men in cycling. So let's go to that video now.
I think about 15 years ago, I just was like, I didn't think I had really anything to add, you know? Yeah, man, that's real. That's real. Yeah.
Yeah. And it puts a lot of things in perspective. So I'm asked the question, right? How did you get into cycling? I'd love to hear from y'all, you know, how you got on those two wheels. Maybe it's a story much deeper than just, you know, oh, it was the fun thing to do. Sometimes it's out of necessity.
Right. I think that's a good point. In fact, that's, my parents, I mean, we always took family bike trips back in the day. And my dad rode his bike to work, every day when you can in Minneapolis, during the nice months. And he did it for two reasons. One, he did it for fitness. But another equally important reason he did was for necessity, because mom got the car, so it was like, you take the car to go to work, I'll ride the bike, or I'll take the bus. Putting family first, both parents working, putting bread on the table, supporting my brother and I. And so I just started riding with him because it was, I could spend quality time with him, and in addition to riding with family on the weekends. And it was a really, I will cherish those memories. And then, I saw these guys riding around town in wool tights and jerseys and, looking fit. And I was keeping up with them, and I was in tube socks and, Converse All-Stars or ponies. Then I saw this 5-minute blurb on Wide World of Sports. Remember Wide World of Sports back in the day with Jim McKay, The Agony of Defeat? And it was on the Tour de France. And I saw this, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. That's something I want to do. And so I remember I entered my first race in high school. I remember my mom buying a set of racing wheels. And I remember they were $80, and I remember my mom writing the check for them. And she looked at me over the top of her glasses, and she said, "This better be worth it." So as I sit here today, as an executive director of Bike Works, I hope they can see it.
Ed, I just want you to know we got so much love for you. So much love. Because that's a story and that's a feeling that a lot of these folks in cycling have never had to feel, right? That feeling that you knew that your mom signed that check, possibly knowing that that money wasn't even in the account.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I played baseball. My dad was signing bad checks just so that I can get out there.
Yep.
And he wore it, and he figured it out. And that's heavy. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, I'll never forget that. I can't remember a bike race that my parents were not there. I was just like, I'm packing to go out of town, and I was going through some old files, and I found this picture of me with the first racing team that I joined. This was 1982. Got the Grace Jones cut and the headband. But I just found that as we were just starting to talk. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have that waistline anymore. But yeah, it's
Oh man.
You're right, Edwin. I mean, those are, the parents made it happen. That's where it starts, that's where I started.
Yeah, for me, I appreciate that story, Ed. It was dope. For me, it was community. So I'm reminded of this recent tragedy with this young man who just went back to our ancestors, to be with our ancestors. He was coming for community, right? The questions he was asking were those community questions. Like, he wanted to belong. I wanted to belong. So my cycling experience, my cycling experience started just recently when I moved to Baltimore, and I had started this business, and it was just me. I didn't have time to, make friends. And I met this guy's daughter on the train, and she told me about her dad, who was this mountain biker. So I talked to him a couple of times and went out and got a mountain bike. So my cycling experience started as mountain biking. But I didn't realize I was really mountain biking. I was just cool to be with this cool group of cats, from all over the world, different languages, different colors. It was just a really, really cool vibe. And then because I was doing it so frequently, I started to get better at it and stronger and faster. Never had any formal training or anything like that, but I really started to enjoy being out there with these men who would come to my house if my water heater broke, or, we would hang out at the local tavern on every corner in Baltimore. And then it just evolved into road cycling. And when I saw that I started this group, I told Ed about this a while ago. I was in DC, and I eventually evolved to road biking. And I was riding with these cyclists who had bikes that cost as much as my car. They were all geared up, and it just felt really exclusive. But because I started out mountain biking, I was strong enough to keep up with them. But then I wanted to be with some people there were a lot of people out there who wanted to ride, and they wanted to ride in groups, but they were afraid because they can't keep up with with the Wednesday night North Star crew. You know what I'm saying? Those are the cats that I used to ride with. So I started this group in DC called Saturday Cycle. And the only requirement was you had to have a sound bike. We partnered with a bike shop, and we would start the rides in the morning. The bike mechanic would get there early and check out everybody's bike. You needed a helmet, and you needed the wheel to go. But the first Saturday I did that ride, we would do it every Saturday. The first Saturday I did that ride, we had 4 people show up, including me. When I left DC in 2015, we had 84 people, 84 brothers and sisters of all colors, just out there hyping it up. And we would, sometimes I will make up the route. We would do 6 miles or 66 miles. And I remember this one sister came to me after a ride, and we were chopping it up, and I said, "You made it. That's so dope." She was the last one in, and I always come in with the last person. And I asked her, what was your longest ride before this? She said 3 miles. And I took that woman on a 66-mile ride, and she would not quit. She would not quit. I told her, if you go back, we all going back. She would not, man, she made it. And that just inspired me to bring that community together, and then to stand back and watch people, get curious about each other, right? To advance some positive aim. And that's kind of what led to where Peace Peloton is now. It's that community, man. Just having people come to me and saying, especially through 2020, man, I was sitting at home by myself. I was alone, and Peace Peloton just brought me back to life. Just see these people out for a common goal on bicycles and breathing and laughing and going slow. It was it for me, man. And to use that as a tool to advance economic reform for Black people, to get people to build businesses, to start businesses, to get curious about business, to build wealth in our community so that the dollars can circulate for days and not hours, and weeks and not days, and months and not weeks. So those dollars will stay in our community. That's how we're going to grow wealth. We don't need any more division among ourselves. We need to be together and elevate each other and compliment each other and hype everybody up when we can, the ones who are doing good work. We got enough people out there doing fucked up work, trying to harm each other. We need to elevate together all day, every day. That's what we do. And that's how I got on the bike.
Yeah, I love hearing these stories. And for folks listening, just want to provide some clarity on my identity as a Central American Indigenous person. And so not having lived in the US as a Black man, knowing that unique experience is one that needs to be heard and needs to be understood. But we'll share a bit about how I got on. I mean, grew up in San Francisco in the Mission District, and first bike was just a hand-me-down, kind of thick tired bicycle with flat handlebars, and like we didn't know that there were mountains in the world because we live in a concrete jungle. And so like our pump track was the carve outs in the sidewalk where the cars would drive through, and you would get some airtime and you get on the street, and did that for a little bit, but didn't really think too much of it. I ended up playing Division I baseball. That was my life. Spent all weekends doing that. But when I came back during college, came back home, I had a friend's parent who was big into cycling, and he's like, "Oh, if you're not playing baseball anymore, like, what are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know. I feel like I don't have the thing. Like, I would like to get back into it." And he's like, "Well, I got a 1986 Dave Scott Centurion BioPace triathlon bike." And I didn't know who Dave Scott was. I didn't know what triathlons were. I didn't know what BioPace was. Actually, I still don't understand BioPace. I just hear it messes up my knees.
I used to sell those in college at the shop I worked at.
Yep, I had the purple and yellow one, the LA Lakers colors. Yep, with white handlebar tape. And the seat post is seized into the frame, so I can't move it up and down. And so I don't even know if it actually fits me. I still have it in the garage. But I got on it, and it let me move throughout the city in ways I'd never had. It was actually the first time I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. I lived in San Francisco my entire life. I didn't see the Golden Gate Bridge until I was 19 years old. And that's when people were like, "Oh, how do we get people in the outdoors?" We don't even know that there is another place, because it's not the thing we're exposed to. It's not the thing that folks are like, "Yeah, you belong here. You can ride across the Golden Gate Bridge." I didn't make it to the Marin Headlands until I was 32 years old. And it's wild. It is a exclusivity. It is what I call a cycling redlining. Like, these white folks, they know where to go. They know where the hills are. They know where the beautiful rides are. They know where the sites are. But guess what? I go riding in Hood Canal in a gravel ride, and I have a white woman screaming at me talking about, "Do you live in this neighborhood? Because I pay the property taxes and you're riding on my streets," she said. I said, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, you should be riding here." I said, and I was being funny. I said, "Well, I'm sorry I'm messing up your streets on my bicycle." She's like, "No, that's not the issue. The issue is you're using me." She was upset that I was using her streets, according to her, because she pays the property taxes. And you start to say, "Well, I don't actually want to be out here. I don't want to be in these streets." And that's not an accident, right? In some ways, we need to start thinking about how do we create a green book for cycling where we know the roads and the streets and the neighborhoods that are safe for us. Because at the moment, you got these white folks that go into private property for gravel rides. Let us go out there, there's going to be a problem. So how, I say all that because there is an element in what North Star is getting melanated people on bikes and serving as the most radically justice-focused cycling thing around. But it also means we have to be safe together. And as much as, and I hear it, the white liberal folks that are like, "Oh, but Edwin, this is for you. We want cycling to be for you." And I'm like, yeah, but it never intended to be. we're trying to collectively within these organizations are trying to make it that. But there is a serious cognitive dissonance of the reality that there is apartheid among cycling, and it is a heavy lift to get on the other side of it. And it's going to take some time, but at the end of the day, let's just get people on bikes and create the safety for them. Because right now it's not there.
It's interesting you say that, Edwin. I was on a ride with a really good friend of mine about a month ago in just west of Bremerton. And we're on our way back, and she's Dutch, a brilliant writer, very, very gifted writer. And we were coming back from this gravel ride, and she saw this. She was telling me about this episode she saw on Grey's Anatomy about there was a black doctor in Grey's Anatomy that was pulled over by the police and basically shook down. So they took everything out of his car, and so she was describing this, and we've known each other for, I don't know, 15 years. And she was describing this, and she just burst into tears. And she's like, "Is that a real risk, Ed?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "That's every day for me. That's every day." I said, my mom and dad said, "Consider yourself 10% wrong just for leaving the house in the morning." And I said, "I wouldn't be riding out here by myself." I was like, let's be perfectly clear about that. I wouldn't be riding out here west of Bremerton on these forest roads by myself, because I could disappear and no one would know. And not a lot of people would care out there, you know? And so I think you're spot on, Edwin, with that. And, you know, I was talking to a coworker the other day about why, you know, like when I talk about bikes in past, why there's emotion there. It's because the cumulative part of it is pride and just reflecting and giving thanks to my parents. But part of it is reflecting on all of the races, the events, the rides, the training rides I've been on where I was the only one. And that feeling, that isolation, or that feeling of being on display where everyone's staring at you, or like the first training ride I showed up to race for this team, no one talked to me. You know, it's a collective accumulation of that pain, of that feeling, and also pride of moving through that successfully. But it comes at a cost. It comes at a price. And to not acknowledge that, and to not want to eliminate that for other cyclists of color it would be a huge miss. So I think you're right. I think you're spot on there as far as how do we create safe space for us to ride wherever we want to ride.
I think one of the ways that we continue to evolve is to continue to speak truth. You know what the experience Ed had with this woman he was riding with, we would call that a sponsor. So there's some places I can't go without this sponsor, right? Mm-hmm. This white friend that I have. That's what that is. And we all know that we are still speaking truth. So yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's some places I won't go. I'm like, hell no, I'm not going over there. You crazy? Yeah. Not doing it.
Especially on the bike. You know, I mean, that goes through my mind every time I throw a leg over the bike for the past 40 whatever years. Every time it accumulates.
Yeah, and it's compounding in the psyche of survival that wears on you, right? There's a real fatigue that comes from it. And for folks listening that are white, I mean, I want them to really hear the tenor. So before I went on that ride in Hood Canal, going to this gravel entry, my wife said, and she says it every time I go ride, make sure you send me your location. the beacon that I know where you are. And for most folks, right, Garmin created that in case you get in an accident or
Right.
you fall over. They don't understand we use it not if we get in an accident. My wife, when she said that, was, I need to make sure that you are safe and that someone doesn't take you out, that you don't end up missing, that we have to pre-map the route, not to figure out how many kilometers we get in or how many feet of climbing we get in, but saying, can I go down that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Should I go through Carnation?
Right.
What time will I get there? Is it going to be dawn? I want to get there when the sun is out. And some people would say, y'all are putting a 10 on a 2. This is so much extra, Edwin. You shouldn't have to think about that. Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah,
But as Doc
that's privilege.
said, right. But as Doc said, I would also like to ride. We would like to ride without a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not charity. We shouldn't have to ride with sponsors because it makes it safer. But unfortunately, that's the reality that we exist in. How do we make it a place, to Doc's point? And so I posted this video on Twitter. It got nearly 300,000 views of that, what that incident was when I explained it. And all these white folks were like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe in 2021, Edwin, you should just go back to them and you should tell them that they're wrong. And I'm like, are y'all wild? What do you mean go back and tell her that she's wrong?
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, well,
That's more work. That's more work for you.
Right. And then the second point is, you know, what should happen is white folks should go on these rides and start identifying it for their Black and brown community in solidarity and saying, actually, this is a ride that you're good to, like, this is safe. Like, we didn't see anything wild. We'll actually create some support. Like, I think white folks can actually put in work to make communities safer for us. But they think it's equal. And there really is, there's nothing equal about it, because the moment, like, you put your leg over that frame, Ed, it's already a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, you know, I think that's, man, I can't stress and drill that enough. And I have, when I was at Cascade directing Major Taylor, and continue to do that at Bike Works, is that for Black and brown youth, the bike is different. It is different. It has different meaning. It can do different things than just take your mind off of a video game. It can do different things. And it's, you have that perspective, because if you got a young brother or sister who wants to go out and ride, you know, and they want to ride to Ballard, or they want to ride to Bellevue or whatever, and they come back and they're like, wow, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. It's a different perspective when any one of us throws a leg over the bike. It's totally different. Yeah. Because the industry, you know, number one, people don't expect you to be doing it. The industry isn't set up for us. There's, you know, I mean, I'm going to Colorado to ride for a week, you know, in a matter of hours. And I've already been preparing and thinking about the looks, the stares, the questions. I've been seeing a lot more of you guys on the bike. You guys, you know, I mean, I'm already prepping for that. You know, and it's like, but I'm not going to let that stop me from going and experiencing a beautiful part of this country, you know, and challenging myself, you know, and you know, and I think that experience also prepares you for the business world as well, because it's the same thing. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the boardroom where I've been the only one for years.
And there may be folks listening that say, well, then why do you all ride a bike then? Right? If it's so hard, Edwin, if it's such a toll on you, then you shouldn't ride a bike. To Ed's point, to Doc's point, because at the same time, we also know that there's a sliver of freedom when you get on that bike and you can pedal to a place that you never knew that you could go to.
Yeah.
But the other thing, you know, earlier I talked about truth. It's a healthy approach and a good balance to know that truth, that there is, it can be dangerous it is dangerous for brothers and sisters to be out on bikes, but not to the point that it diminishes our choice to have that experience.
Right.
And even beyond that, I've had a bike has taken me to Southeast Asia, to Europe, to all over the US. I want other people to experience what I experienced, man, because it's so dope to be on a bicycle, to get that cadence and to feel the rhythm of the pedals, man, and hear that rubber hit. Oh, man, that is dope.
I like this question. What does outside mean to you? You know, every time I get on my bike or I'm going for a walk in the neighborhood, the vision that comes to me is when I was a kid and running out the back door, and then you hear the screen door slam, and then mom is like, "Don't slam that door." But it's like we had 2 steps out the back door, and I was just always just boom, don't slam that back door, and be back at 6.
I think, you know, outside and outdoors means something totally different to people where I grew up, right? Mm-hmm. Outdoors means I got to buy some expensive equipment to do this thing that I see white people doing on TV. Outside is what your mama told you to do.
Right.
She wanted you to get out of her face. Boy, going outside. Right.
Go outside, let the sun shine on you.
So when I talk to people about getting on bikes or moving their body, you know, making, what was the term, joyful movement or something like that, mm-hmm. that Marley mentioned in our panel. I talk to people about getting outside as opposed to going outdoors now, because I think that there's a part of the community that can relate to what outside means. All you have to do is cross the threshold of what's separating the outdoors from the inside, and you are now outside. What you do at your time is up to you. You can go for a walk, skip rocks, do whatever. I think that is going to, that may seem like minimal, but just the mindset of understanding what outside means, especially growing up as a kid in Gary, Indiana. Outdoors mean, oh man, that's something white people do. Outside,
right.
Anybody can go outside.
Right.
Yeah, outside's a fascinating place. I say that because I mentioned growing up in a concrete jungle. So I never actually saw grass at a home until I moved to Seattle. Right, there was not even artificial grass in our neighborhood. Like your home was, you could knock on the wall and the neighbor heard you. And that was throughout the whole city. And so for us, the outside was, you got a concrete wall or you got the street, and you would just start running around, or you get your bike and you say, I'm going to sprint up this hill and get exhausted. But you were constantly looking out for cars. You were constantly looking out for people running. I'm like, yo, and I love hearing this. I don't wear any headphones, no music. And people are like, but Edwin, how do you stay motivated? And I'm like, do you not see where we are?
Right.
I mean, you can hear it, you can feel it. So yeah, the outdoors for me it is a refuge, especially when there's no cell service and you're like, I'm just out here. And you stop for a moment and you look around and you're like, wow, I'm with myself. And as melanated men, that's a conversation that we can spend another 3 hours talking about, is the mental health of us actually spending time with each other, by ourselves, self-reflection, introspection of, am I healed? Do I have some healing to do? I know I do.
Right.
And how do I do that in community? And for me, the bicycle has helped that. And my wife can attest that. I mean, it's been night and day in my mental health to be able to give thanks. I can come home with some clarity.
I agree with that. I felt that, oh man, 3 weeks ago, I just wanted to go ride in the woods. So I drove out the Carnation and did the Snoqualmie Valley Trail out to the tunnel and back, and picked up a friend along the way in North Bend. And I just was like, I want to go ride in the woods. I just want to go ride. I don't want to think about traffic. I just want to hear the trees. I just want to smell the smells. I just feel like I need to do this right now. And you're right. It was like this gut visceral, like I need to go spend time with myself in solitude on my bike.
It sounds like we may have to wrap it up. I think we have a last question of what our orgs are and how folks can support. I'll start it off quickly. I'm with North Star Cycling here in Seattle, co-founder Aaron Bassett, First Lady of North Star, Kay Cole. We have our website, northstarcycling.org, but we are all together in this work. So really supporting one is supporting the other. And folks can support through donations and or bikes or financial. And we have a clubhouse in the Central District that you can come to and just hang out and build community.
Right on. Doc Wilson, I'm with Peace Peloton. Our website is peacepeloton.com. Like Brother Edwin said, we welcome your financial donations. Peace Peloton is an economic development organization. And we use the bicycle as a tool for one of our programs to advance that aim. But yes, peacepeloton.com. We'll be celebrating our 1-year anniversary on Juneteenth. All the information is on our website. Our actual anniversary was on June 6th when Ed's the co-founder of Peace Peloton. Ed and I came together with his idea, and a year later, we're still doing it right. We're still making mistakes, but we're still, moving forward.
Thanks, Doc. I'm Ed Ewing, Executive Director of BikeWorks. BikeWorks is also having a birthday Sunday. We're turning 25. So I'm honored and thrilled to be leading this organization. And as I said, it's been a journey, Mom and Dad said, and my mom said it better be worth it, and I hope I'm proving that every day for them.
You did good, son.
The best $80 they ever spent.
But you can support BikeWorks by bike donations. We pretty much take anything bike related, monetary donations, sponsorships. We just got a sponsorship from Brother Lewis Rudd at Ezell's.
So thank you all for your time. And Chevon, thank you. Brothers, thank you for the love and the continued support. Appreciate you all.
Thanks, Doc.
Awesome. Thank you, Ed, Edwin, and Doc. I would first like to have you all join me in a moment of silence to honor the young man that was lost last week. Thank you. Every Sundays outside, we want to take a moment to highlight organizations that are doing good work in the community. Today, we'd like to spotlight Peace Peloton, North Star Cycling, and BikeWorks. They are 3 organizations based in Seattle that are doing amazing work to get Black and Brown youth on bikes. If you can, support them. They just shared many ways that opportunities and dollars are also important for all of these causes. So we're going to drop the links to those organizations in the chat now. So we've come to the end of our program, and I want to say I am honored that I was able to host this with you all today. I want to give a quick shout out again to Arthur and Mary Ann, who will be the hosts later on in this series. I want to thank our sponsors, Washington State Parks, Folk and Traditional Arts Program, the Wilderness Society, the Wilderness Society, Washington Trails Association, Friends of Seattle Waterfront, National Endowment for the Arts, and Washington State Parks Foundation. As we close, I also want to thank DJ Rosethrow, Allison, Doc, Edwin, and Ed for sharing their talents and their passions with us today. I also want to thank the team that helped make this happen, Kamari, aka Monica, Kiwi, and Michaela. Today has been a really awesome way to kick off this series celebrating Black men, celebrating cycling, highlighting Riverside State Park. And we have so much more to come. This year, we have an amazing lineup you do not want to miss. In fact, next month, we are going to be celebrating LGBTQIA plus with a performance by drag queen Regine Dynasty, a story about the enslaved man York, who was part of the Lois and Clark expedition, and so much more. So don't miss it. Go ahead and RSVP right now. The link is going in the chat. Make sure you also take our survey. Let us know what you liked about today's program and be entered into a chance to win a Discover Pass, which is valid at all Washington State parks. To close out, like I said, we're gonna head back to Riverside Park and jam out with DJ Rosethrow. Thank you again for joining us for the very first installment of this year's Sundays Outside, a celebration of Black folks. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again. All right, have a good one.